Welcome back to We Scale Creators Podcast number 3. Today's episode, we're going to be covering everything ads. And really, by the end of this episode, we're going to show you guys exactly what we're doing to scale our campaigns to $1.5 million plus per month and how you can potentially double or triple your return on ad spend and overall just improve your entire creative process, creative throughput, everything as a whole when it comes to all things ads.
Yeah, this has been a huge unlock for us over the last 6 months especially. So I'm very, very excited to dive into everything that's working for us and most importantly, how it's directly benefited our results and the results of all the partners that we work with. This is going to be a big episode. I'm excited for it.
Yeah, I think first thing we should start out with is just what the industry does now, what most agencies do now, where they go wrong, because I've been in this industry for a very long time. I've worked with a lot of ad agencies. There's a lot of good ones, but majority just simply don't operate at the level they need to be operating at, especially in 2026 with all the new meta updates, Andromeda, et cetera, et cetera. And I think we should just dive into creative first.
Yep. No, I agree. I mean, the biggest thing, and we've talked about this extensively in past episodes about the model itself that a lot of agencies run doesn't directly correlate to a direct increase in incentives, right? Like the agency isn't incentivized to go out and do 300 or 500 ads for their partners every single month because they're going to get their invoice paid regardless as long as the results are okay at best. Whereas for us, we take a completely different approach. We've covered that in general. But as we'll dive into here, it's in marketing, right? It's like the old way versus the new way. Historically, it's been a lot of, hey, we're going to roll out, 10 ad creatives a week, 15 ad creatives a week, and we're going to do that every week. We're just going to test stuff and just essentially cross T's and dot I's. And there isn't a ton of thought or real strategy behind that refresh. And like you said, there are some ad agencies out there that do a good job of this, but they're very far and few between. And a lot of offer owners, and you and I have seen this time and time again, when we look at funnels and offers and we audit the ad account, it's like, this is what you guys have been doing.
They're launching 5, 10, 15 max creatives a week for offers.
Yeah, at max too. And the craziest thing is sometimes they're still getting half decent results, which is wild because if they were working with a skilled team and a team that cared and was really, putting the pedal to the metal, so to speak, when it comes to advertising and creatives in general, their results could literally 10x. It's absolutely crazy.
Yeah, and we're really talking about scaling campaigns to 300K, 500K a month really, really quickly. And if you're rolling out 5, 10 creatives a week, it's like your ads are going to fatigue too quickly, especially when you're spending that much. And especially with Andromeda, you need creative diversity. You need a lot of different creatives. We'll dive into that in a second on how we go about doing that. Because at the end of the day, it's like your ads are going to fatigue too quick, and the market's going to, you're just not going to be able to scale as effectively as you possibly can compared to having a large rollout of ads with a lot of different, image variations, video variations. And that's what I want to really get into is what kind of image variations, what kind of video variations, how do you actually go and launch, 30 to 50 creatives every single week and do it consistently? Because at our agency, like you explained, we actually have the incentive to go out there because we're capital partners. We spend our own money. So our incentive is to go out there and produce 50 creatives a week for every single one of our partners. And that's how we're able to have massive longevity. Like we have funnels running for a year and a half straight right now, hitting record breaking months. And it's because of the velocity of our creatives, the creative throughput that we put out, right?
Yeah, it's something that we can never do without that. Like, how do you have one offer run for 12 plus months? And it's like, if the creatives weren't dialed in, that would never even be possible. And before we get into all the nitty gritty, it's like you said with Andromeda, it's like, why is this even important? Well, if any of you, know anything about media buying or you have a media buyer on your team, they've been saying this at least for the last 6 months, which is creative is the new targeting. Like a lot of times, in the past, especially 2018, 2020 Facebook strategies, it's like set up crazy LIL retargeting audiences, all this shit. And that's just really no longer the case. Algorithms are so smart now that they're really putting a lot of eggs into the basket of how good is the creative? Who is it speaking to? What audience is it intended for? What's the outcome? And all of that is really done on the creative level. And it's very, very difficult to get adequate data for the algorithm and from how well customers are actually receiving and resonating with your ad creatives if you're only launching 10 ads a week. It's just not enough volume. It's the same thing as spending $1,000 a month on ads. Like, sure, you're spending money, like you're taking the box of spending the money, but it's very, very difficult to get true, accurate, actionable data when doing that. So that's just the overarching, give a theme to why we take so much emphasis in this and what the overall theme of this podcast is going to be. There's a reason for it. There's a method of the madness, and you have to have dialed in creatives in 2026 in order to scale at all.
Yeah. Yeah, we could dive into how we actually go about it. So, for Meta specifically, it's like you want to have a combination of video and image ads. You don't want to just have one. You want to have the most variety possible. And especially with Andromeda, you're rewarded for variety. You want to have creative variety. So what does that mean? On the image ad side, it's like the typical winners that we launch will be carousel ads. There'll be social proof ads. It'll be direct kind of outcome-based ads. What works really well for us is scarcity and urgency-based ads, right? So you want to have all kinds of different advertising formats. Same thing on the video side. You want to be testing out different hooks. Like your hooks are going to be targeting different demographics and different people. So you want to have different hooks, targeting different personas. You want to have different locations. You want to have different backgrounds. You can record ads in the car with your partner or your client. You can record ads at their house. You can do kind of more whiteboard educational style, right? You want to have all kinds of different formats, different locations, different clothing. Everything needs to be different. And that's how Facebook's actually going to go out there and target different, sub demographics inside of your market and really just allow you to scale with lower CPCs, higher ROAS, lower CPAs. It all comes down to the creative variety that you have across both, image and video.
Yeah, it's like you said, it's absolutely necessary. And we're going to dive into this about how we're able to go and capture this much creative volume with our partners. But at the end of the day, like I said, it's about getting the data points. And if you're just going to go have one filming session, talking head like we are, sitting at a desk and just testing different copy, especially for video ads, the algorithm is not going to index that into as many customer segments as it could versus if I was walking outside, versus if I was sitting on my couch, versus if I was sitting here, having someone film me sitting here. Like, there's a lot of little nuances where you can still get good Andromeda variance when it comes to filming at least video ads and specifically, because images you can get pretty buck wild and do a lot of stuff very, very quickly. But when it comes to video, you have to be able to have that variety. The old just, I'm going to run 1 million podcast style ads. Like, sure, podcast style ads can work, but if that's all you're doing, your ads are going to get cannibalized pretty quickly. And you're going to start to see that when it comes to CPCs, CPAs, CPMs, all the metrics that matter.
Yeah. What we do at We Scale Creators is, we run all these different formats across both image and video. And before scripting them out, we'll segment them by level of awareness as well, right? So it's like there's unaware, there's solution aware, there's problem aware, there's most aware, there's product aware. And you got to make sure you're, allocating the proper budget to every single one of these levels of awareness. Now, here's a pro tip on how you can do this pretty easily. So what we've found is tweet ads tend to work really, really well. Like a straight up on Meta, you run a tweet style ad creative, and these are very easy to go in there and swap different copy around. So you can have the same kind of tweet ad format and test out an unaware hook and a problem aware hook and a solution aware hook, and you can see what's working best, right? And once you've identified, hey, we're crushing it with a problem aware, level of awareness, we can go out there and now we can create other formats outside of tweet ads or even double down on the tweet style ads. It's a very, very easy way to refresh and test kind of different creatives, different concepts, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah. And you're going to hear us talk a lot more about awareness level stuff in general, because it's really one of our guiding principles when it comes to advertising is awareness levels. I mean, we touch on it basically every episode because it really is that damn important. And especially, I can think of a ton of examples with our current clients where depending on what awareness level we are focusing on more. So let's say we've been like a first shoot that we do with a client, we might be focusing a lot of our ads on, product aware or most aware because we're going to be hitting a warm audience initially. But when we're 6, 9, 12 months into working with a client, we've gone so deep into the market that not only our scripting, but also our visuals, again, in terms of location, editing styles, copy styles on, static ads, etc. All of that is going to change over time. There's not just a one size fits all, let's run this forever kind of strategy. It's very naive thinking, and it's going to get you in trouble if you're running the offer. And if you're an offer owner, and your team is maybe doing this already, you've probably seen it in terms of either hitting a ceiling on your ads or worst case is you're even digressing, which is not good at all, right?
Yeah. Well, one of the biggest things when it comes to paid ads that people don't factor in is how it impacts the entire funnel, right? So your ads, like we've ran ads to the same landing page for months without making any tweaks at all to the sales page, right? Or the landing page they're going to, whether it's a sales funnel, quiz funnel, challenge funnel, doesn't matter. Concept still applies. The ads have actually doubled our conversion rates. Like we've tested out, different kind of style ads that have doubled the conversion rate on the landing page with zero tweaks to the actual lander just by having better ads and more variety of ads, which is something that, a lot of marketers or ad agencies don't actually keep in mind. And one big mistake that they make, and they make this often, I see this all the time, is they'll do a whole new ad batch. And then it's like, well, the conversion rate drops across the funnel. And you're like, well, what happened? Why is the conversion rate down? And it's, well, you just launched 30 new ads, but these 30 new ads are no longer aligned to the messaging that you have on the sales page, right? So it's very, very important that you have congruency between the ad and the sales page. And if you can get that right and you can test out a variety of different ad creatives, you're going to see some ads just have much, much stronger conversion rates as a whole. You will double your conversion rate on your sales page just by having better ads.
Yeah, and there was no better example of this for us across all of our partners than really from Black Friday, Cyber Monday, all the way through the end of the year. Like that was probably for us our best season of advertising ever because we were so dialed in with the messaging and the congruency between our ads and what that actual landing page is looked like for our partners during that time. And that's exactly when we really saw the proof of that strategy come through because our ads were much more dialed in. There was a very specific theme, like you said earlier, very much focused on scarcity. We had sales going on, all the typical Black Friday, Cyber Monday, Christmas sales stuff, but that was directly congruent with the theme that was going on. Obviously, it's holiday season. We have sales going on, etc. But that was directly reflected in the landing page as well. So someone saw the ad, they're like, oh, this is interesting. They click on it, and they're not going to a page that is similar, but maybe has some different information on it, or there's a discrepancy there. It was like, I see a short version of it. I'm interested. I click. I go to a much longer version of the exact same thing and same angle that I just clicked on. And that's where we saw quite literally a doubling of our conversion rates during that time, which was absolutely massive for us across all of our funnels. It was the perfect example of the strategy executed.
Yeah, easiest way to do it. You're running Thanksgiving ads, make sure you have a little Thanksgiving special banner on your sales page or whatever. You want to make sure that ad is congruent with the lander, right? And a lot of people look at like CTR and like, we found CPA is the guiding metric. You want to always look at your CPA and you're optimizing for CPA. If you run curiosity-based ads, you're going to have a much higher CTR, you're going to have a much higher click-through rate because they're curious, right? But that doesn't necessarily mean that you have buyer intent in those ads. So when they go to your actual landing page, maybe they come from a place of curiosity, but they're not in buyer mode, so the conversion rate's going to be down. Compared to something that has buyer intent from the get-go, you're going to improve your conversion rate, et cetera, right? And I don't know where I was going with that, so I'll let you go.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen that. I mean, we've seen that so many times, right? Is some of the ads that we'll do, they'll look, and this goes in general, right? This goes for no matter what offer you're running and what market you're running. You might get really, really low CPCs or really, really high click-through rates on the ad, but that's great, but that's vanity. That doesn't mean you're going to necessarily make more money unless that click actually goes through to a purchase. So that's where a lot of offer owners and agencies will, think that they're being successful with their ad strategies because, oh my God, we have really low CPCs. But in reality, it's, are those people clicking and are they converting? Because that's the ultimate metric that you're looking for, which is why we look at CPA above all else. I mean, we've even done it too, especially with the volume of ads that we're testing, where we'll launch some new batches of creatives and it's like, man, these look really, really good from a CPC standpoint. But over the course of 5 to 7 days, we see that the conversion rate on those ads or that ad set specifically is below our KPIs. Well, is it a successful ad? Probably not, because we're not actually driving customers, which at the end of the day is the most important thing.
Yeah, and you want to make sure you're on top of your data, right? Like Facebook reporting, everybody knows is inaccurate, right? So you want to set up tools like Hyros, Motion, et cetera, et cetera. We use Hyros internally. We also use Motion to look at trends, what's actually trending, what are patterns that we're not seeing inside of Hyros or elsewhere. And at the end of the day, you want to look at your winners. This is very simple stuff, right? Look at your winners, look at your losers, cut off the winners. But it's very important that not to be afraid of running similar angles, copy, messaging when you've identified winners, right? So we still want to be testing out new angles. We still want to be testing out new hooks. But at the same time, you want to be reusing the winners that you've identified in different formats. If you found a winning hook or winning messaging in a specific video ad format, do it in a different location. Do it with a different outfit. Run some image ads, run some carousels, run some tweet ads using that kind of same angle. You can tweak it a little bit, but it's very important not to be afraid of, obviously, looking at the winners and how can we reformat this and redistribute it to essentially, continue increasing ROAS and continue scaling.
Yeah, once you've done enough spending, those winners are really the foundation of your ad account. Because once you spend enough money, you can test out, like you said, different shirts, different colors, different backgrounds, whatever. But if the angle and the messaging is the same or similar and they're just all working well, that becomes the foundational layer of your account. You know that if you launch an ad for the most part with that style, it's going to resonate and the KPIs are going to be hit. They might be a little bit varied depending on which ad performs the best, but those are like tried and true winners. It doesn't mean only do those, because then eventually you're going to exhaust the angle and they're no longer going to be a winner and you're going to have nothing left to run with, right? So it's about having that foundation, continuing to build on top of that while simultaneously continuously rolling out a high volume of new tests. And those new tests, which I'm sure we'll dive into in a second, they shouldn't just be spray and pray. It's not like, all right, this might be a cool angle. Let's just test it, right? And just see what happens. It's like, how does it align with what's going on in the market? How does it align with what's going on with your customer? How does it align with what's going on in the world, right? Some of our best performing ad creatives ever are related to things that are going on in the news, things that are going on in
Topical ads,
holidays, like all this stuff that's a very universal trend. If you're able to boil that down into your client's messaging and into your ads, I mean, that's the best case scenario, right?
Yeah, topical ads are absolutely key. I mean, topical ads are how you like during holiday season, we scale our campaigns so quickly. We get much higher conversion rates. Our conversion rates will sometimes double to triple when we're running topical ads, right? So you want to see what is going on trending wise, what seasonal, like seasonality. It's like you want to hit topical stuff all the time. You always want to be relevant. Right now we have the Super Bowl coming up. We have Valentine's, Day coming up. This last last month, we had Christmas, we had Thanksgiving, we hit record breaking months because we have topical and relevant ads. And you could even go as far as, making up like a week where if you're in the gut health space, it's gut health week. You know what I mean? Like you can create kind of manufacture weeks or whatever you want to do. At the end of the day, the guiding principle here is ensuring that you have topical and relevant ads. And when you do that, you're going to see everything increase. Your, CPA is going to decrease. Your ROAS is going to go up. Everything works better when you're always, staying on top of what is trending and what is relevant.
Yeah, and everyone knows that like ad costs will skyrocket during the holiday season, aka Christmas through New Year's, and then also, when there's elections going on, right? Everyone knows that's when the huge increases in ad costs go across the board. But I can tell you from experience, and we've seen this time and time again, very few are thinking about topical ads to launch in late spring. Like what's going on then? That's even summer too. Like not a lot of brands for the most part and offer owners are at that point, they're just probably running with some winners. Like it's summer, school's out, people are on vacation. They're not really thinking about what's going on in the world right now, what's going on in seasonality, what are some trends that I can capture on. Most people aren't doing that. And when you're able to have a plan in place months and months and months in advance of, okay, we're coming up on Valentine's Day, we're coming up on St. Patrick's Day, then we have Easter, and you're starting to plan well in advance for what kind of campaign are we going to launch during this time period. By the time you actually roll it out, the competition is going to almost be zero because very few people are thinking about doing that. And even if they are, they're probably launching it last minute and getting the ads up a day before. And there's a lot of opportunity both on the front end and back end of that specific holiday, for example, to really capture a lot of the market because there's not that many people, especially in some of these niches, that are thinking that way, much less executing that way inside of their advertising strategy.
Yeah, well, you touched on ad prices going up, and they do, like during holidays, big holidays like Thanksgiving, Christmas. Yes, your ad prices will go up probably 25%, but the conversion rate increase that you get when you have topical ads actually makes up for it. Like we had higher CPCs during Christmas, but our overall ROAS was up tremendously across every offer that we were running, despite having higher cost per clicks, because yes, there is a lot of ad spend going on in Q4, but when you have holiday ads, when you have seasonality and you're hitting it right, it's like your conversion rate's going to go up, potentially double. And at that point, you're going to have a higher return on ad spend overall.
Yeah, it's just basic math, right? We can afford to at that point, have a double the cost of our CPCs, but if our conversion rate increases by 2x as well, it ends up offsetting or even being higher for us in terms of our return and lower on our CPA. I mean, there were days during the holidays where we were spending multiple four figures on ads per day, 5, 6, 7, 8,000 a day for clients and being freaking profitable on low
on the front end. Yeah.
Even with higher CPCs. Like that's just math. And there's a lot of people during that time that probably saw an increase in CPCs and unfortunately saw an increase, in CPAs as well, because they didn't have the right strategy. They were still launching more ads, but they weren't breaking through. They weren't differentiating themselves from a lot of other competitors in their market. And all the buyers who were kind of on the fence or could have been swayed to their product ended up going to the product who was capturing, what was going on during that season. It's a very, very underrated strategy, but, people like us and our clients and our partners who are taking advantage of it reap the benefits on literally a monthly basis. There's always something that you can do when it comes to that.
Yeah. So how do you actually create winning ads? I mean, it's our formula. We've tested out literally thousands and thousands of different ad copy variations, concept variations. It really comes down to a few key things. It's like, number one, as we discussed in previous episodes, you always want to have differentiation, right? You want to create that contrast. How do you do that? There's numerous ways to do that. One of the easiest ways, analyze the market. Look at what all your competitors are doing. What are they saying? What is the solution that they're proposing to the market? And how can we identify gaps or problems in the current market solution, right? And how can we actually solve those problems and gaps in our solution? And now we have somewhat of a unique mechanism and we can leverage that in our paid ads. And then as far as the principles that we target, it's really simple. It's like strongest hook possible, focus in the ad on the key outcome, the desired outcome that they're after, the number one kind of core outcome. What objections and limitations do they have to achieving that? And handle those objections and handle those limitations. Throw in some social proof and then have a CTA. It's nothing crazy. It's simple direct response marketing principles, but we've tested out quite literally everything. Obviously, these need to change slightly. The messaging needs to change depending on the level of awareness that you're hitting. If you're targeting a problem-aware audience, you're going to want that hook to ensure that it's digging into that pain, right? If you're targeting an unaware audience, you want to kind of have a big idea that is going to instantly kind of capture them and want them to take advantage of a big opportunity or something, right? If they're a solution aware audience, they're already aware of the vehicle that's going to help them accomplish that outcome, but you need to go and differentiate yourself compared to other solutions in the market. But as a whole, it's the strongest hook possible, the desired key outcome. What objections, limitations do they have to accomplish that? Throw in some social proof so they see other people have gotten these results, and then CTA, right?
Yeah, and there's so many different ways like that. That right there is the sauce. Like that is how you do it. That's how it's done. And there's so many different angles and ways that you can take that concept and apply it to your brand. I mean, like we talked about earlier, like that's applicable for static images. You can do carousels. You can do motion graphics. You can do tweet ads. You can do testimonial based ads. And on the video side, I mean, if you're able to film consistently or leverage AI, like we'll talk about in a minute when it comes to ad creatives. I mean, there's so many different angles that you can take that premise on and apply it to be as mass market as possible. And ultimately, once you do all of that for long enough with high enough ad spend, you're going to get that data back and have your winning 6 or your winning 10. And then you're able to go a lot more vertically integrated into those concepts, like we were explaining earlier with tweet ads being the perfect example. Once you find that a tweet ad hits, you can test tweet ads to every single level of market awareness. You can test those tweet ads as motion graphics. You can start to throw tweet ads into the hook or into the body or a CTA of a video ad. Like it's not just one dimensional. You can take that premise when you find a winner and make it massively applicable across your entire advertising strategy. And that's really where things start to get fun. That's really where it
Yeah.
starts to happen.
Yeah. And not to dog on other agencies too much in, in the context of them launching 5, 10, 15 creatives a week, but a lot of them are just limited because they need actual video content from the creator, right? Or the partner that they're working with. And it's like, well, they got to do that on their own time. They got to send it over to you. We solve that problem by actually flying out to our partners every 30 to 60 days, sometimes 90 days, depending on how fast we actually need an ad refresh, right? And our process with that is like 2 weeks before that shoot, we sit out there, we look at all the data, we look at all the winners, we look at all the losers, we identify what level of awareness is converting the best, and then we'll pre-script everything based on levels of awareness, all kinds of different hooks, targeting different personas, and then, run that by the client before the shoot. The client actually approves it. And at that point, we'll fly out to our partners, right? We'll fly out to them. We'll bring our videographers. We'll record every single, hook ad in person. Typically only takes 3 to 4 hours or 1 minute each. We'll knock them all out. We will edit them on our end as well. But this is where, us having kind of the control and ability to do that is what allows us to go out there and launch 30 to 50 new creatives a week, every single week between both image and video.
Yeah, I mean, that's been one of the biggest unlocks for us. And I know a lot of people in the agency space who are like, oh, we fly out to our clients and they just contract a local videographer and toss them the script one day before and they go out and shoot with the client. But for us, it's like we send our own, either, you and I will go ourselves to actually go out there and see the client, but not every time. Because other times we have an internal team member, one videographer, two videographers from our own team go out there and form that relationship with the client even more in depth. And based on the feedback that we've gotten there, it's absolutely massive, not only from our ability to create a lot higher volume of ads at scale, like you mentioned, but from a relationship standpoint, the clients aren't used to that. Partners aren't used to their team and their capital partner literally flying out on their own dime to them and setting everything up for them. Just, hey, you look at this camera, say this, this, and this. And we handle that shoot with the utmost professionalism. And as we both know, I mean, there's been so many times where we get texts or phone calls or Slack messages from our partners after that shoot where it's like, man, we got a lot of stuff done for 3 hours, but then I just chatted with your team for a couple hours more, went out to dinner or whatever, and talked about things that are upcoming and the success of the ads that we did last time and how well they think these ads are going to do. And that level of deep relationship building that we do with our clients is a huge benefit. Again, not only for the shoot, but long term, it pays massive dividends for us as well. And it's a big differentiator because I don't know that many people in the space, if any at all, that are doing that at all, much less on a consistent basis like we are.
Yeah, and like you hit the nail on the head with, we do it with the utmost professionalism in the sense that the way we do it is we pre-script everything and we have all of the locations already mapped out. So we know exactly where we're going. We know what order to hit every single ad. We can do it very, very quickly. Once we land and once we meet the client, it's like, okay, well, here's what we're doing. Here's the location. Here's the outfit. We've had wardrobe stylists come with us on shoots to actually help the partner change very quickly so we can be very, effective with our time and get everything filmed. And by the end of the 3 hours, we'll have 100 different ad variations and a bunch of different hooks that we can throw on top of different bodies and essentially get hundreds upon hundreds of ads out of it. And then we start, editing them and rolling them out based on, depending on how fast we're scaling over a 30, 60, kind of 90-day period. And for the most part, the partner's hands off, right? Like we scale these offers to $500,000 a month. The partner spends maybe 1 hour a week on a call with us to go over all the stats. And that's all they're doing until the next shoot.
Yep, and their shoots are fun too for the client, right? Because we're able to come in and dress them up in freaking Santa costumes for the holidays, or take them to the beach if they live by a beach and record ads there in the sun, and it ends up being a very collaborative and most importantly efficient process for all parties involved. And when we're on the tail end of this, once we have that shoot done, the way that we have it set up in terms of how we script things, how we film things, and then how we edit them together, the volume that we have from 1/2 day of shooting with a client is enough to last us for months and months and months and months and still be able to, like we discussed earlier in this podcast, be congruent with Andromeda and what's going on. We've already done the research and seen all the data in terms of what's working. So we're not just scripting ads because we want to get new random ads. They're done very much with intentionality that when we explain that to the partners, they're like, oh, cool, I'm down to do this. Like, it's very rare that our partners are blindsided by a concept that we're doing or why we're doing something because they've seen the strategy. We're discussing with them well in advance, like you said. And that pays dividends for a long, long time after that. And it's a pretty easy process for the creator too. Most of these people like being on camera. They're creators. They're used to doing content. And now they get to do some fun stuff with us that's going to make them money directly in the short term. It's a pretty cool time. It's one of the most fun times that we've had with partners is doing those in-person shoots.
Yeah, and you touched on relationships. It's like relationships are everything in business. They're everything in an agency. They're everything in business in general. When you actually fly out, meet your clients face to face, spend time with them, you can go over kind of bigger ideas, bigger strategies, take them out to dinner. You're able to build that relationship, and, you know, it's absolutely critical if you want to have kind of, you know, high retention and low churn. It's like, how do you do that? Well, it's a game of getting them results, and it's a game of having a great relationship with them.
Yeah, especially in the age, really ever since COVID, right? Where a lot of businesses now remote, teams are remote, you know, clients aren't local to you anymore. It's like that art of, you know, meeting a client and shaking their hand and grabbing a coffee or going out to dinner and talking about the future. Like, that's a lost art nowadays, especially for marketing agencies. Like, a lot of these companies are new. They don't even know what it's like to run a business before COVID when everything was already remote. And a lot of these clients, you know, even if they're a young influencer or someone who's been in business for 40 years, like, they're missing that human connection. And that's something that we're able to provide, because we need it and we need to get new ads for all of our partners, but it brings back that lost art of in-person connection. And when you're able to differentiate yourself from all the other marketers out there in that way, it's absolutely massive. And that's, you know, one of the reasons why I think we credit to how long we're able to keep these relationships with our partners going is because they've met us in person. They know what we look like. They know a little bit about us on a personal level. Like, we're able to connect with them in real life, not just through the screen and, you know, show Hyro stats every week. It goes deeper than that. And that's something that's hard to replicate.
It's the best time to present kind of big ideas and other business opportunities with them as well. There's no better time than when you're face to face with them. Come prepped with a strategy. There's so many instances where we've came, you know, prepared with big ideas and other business opportunities that we want to do with the specific partner that we present on these kind of shoots that we go on. And that is how we get them off the ground and running, right? It's like during these shoots, if you want to do big business opportunities, much better do it in person than doing it virtually.
Yeah, I mean, you and I have spent hours freaking preparing before we fly out and go on these shoots, and we have our plan, and then we sit down at a dinner table with them, and it's like, we've got, you know, 1 to 2 hours of their undivided attention at that dinner table or at lunch or even just before or after the shoot. That is the perfect opportunity to, like you said, pitch all those ideas and show them things. And a lot of people now, especially on calls, it's like you got Slack going, you've got your team hitting you up over here. And it's like, you can still have good conversations and be productive, but you're a lot more distracted. But when you're sitting across the table from them and you want to present them a big idea or a new angle or, you know, expanding onto a different traffic source or building an app or some broader vision that you have for them and their offer, that's the perfect time to do it. And you're able to get a lot of things done much more effectively than you would if you had to coordinate across different Zoom meetings and Google Meet meetings. And again, it's a lost art of business that a lot of people previously in different generations were very familiar with because it was the standard, but it's been a lost art now, especially in the marketing agency space. And, you know, we've taken full advantage of that, and it's been a huge positive, net positive for us and for our partners.
Yeah. And 100, you know, creative sounds like a lot. It's really not. I mean, leveraging AI. Yeah. Leveraging AI like Claude Opus 4.5 right now, at the time of recording this, is the best model specifically for copy and paid ads and whatnot. When you have data, especially if you've been running an offer for a few months and you're able to actually get that data from Motion, from Hyros, et cetera, and upload it into whatever model LLM you're using, you can actually go in there and say, hey, okay, well, these are the patterns that we're seeing. Problem-aware audience is working the best. And then you have Claude go out there, give it the right prompt, touch on the principles that I touched on earlier, strongest hook possible, focus on outcomes, removal of limitations, variations, social proof, CTA, and have it go out there and create 25, 50 variations for you on every level of awareness and every kind of hook and persona that you could think of. I mean, it's very, very easy and simple, especially when you have data to go out there and produce winning ads at scale. Now, it doesn't mean you're going to be using exactly what Claude outputs, right? You still want a chief copywriter on your team to actually go and look at everything and, change it accordingly. But the longer you work with a partner, the better guardrails you can set up for the AI and the better data and information you have so that it actually goes out there and writes in your tone or the client's tone and knows what's winning, knows what's losing. And it can go out there and produce hundreds of creatives for you in 1 hour, 2 hours max.
Yeah, literally. And I think when it comes to AI for creatives, a lot of people, see what they see on Twitter and it's all hype, but very few people and agencies are actually utilizing that correctly. And that's just at the time of recording this in January of 2026. By mid-end of this year, hot take that if you're an agency out there, you're working with one that is low on volume and low on creativity, like you're going to get crushed because people like us are utilizing AI to its full capacity now for different angles and different research and scripting these out, at least on a base level. But, with the way things are going over the next 6 to 12 months, it will not be uncommon to have AI automatically look at all this data, craft new concepts in real time every single day based on winners, based on losers. And that goes for image right now. When that becomes a full play with video and AI avatars, which is already something that's taking shape as of the time we're recording this, I mean, if you're not using this stuff and you're not launching, what we're doing now, the 100 a month on average for every partner, that's going to be 100 a week pretty soon with how fast AI is going. So now is the time to utilize it. But also, like you said, it's not just about throwing this all in Claude and saying, give me a ton of new ad ideas and then copying and pasting and using those. There still needs to be human refinement. You got to look at, someone on your team who's good with copy, who's good with advertising strategy, who's good with image, good with video. You have to refine these ideas a lot more because the algorithms are smart. And if you're just copying and pasting written copy or images or video scripts directly that AI gave you, don't be surprised if it doesn't work out that well.
Yeah. One thing to keep in mind is like a core principle too, is like the market's not the constraint. If you're spending a lot of money and you're like, the markets are always in motion, right? Markets are always growing. Markets are always in motion. The constraint is always the creative velocity. If your offer starts fatiguing, it's most likely a creative velocity problem. If you have creatives always going out and you have a winning funnel, that's you're going to continue having longevity and continue scaling. The creatives are the constraint. The market is not your actual constraint up until a certain ceiling, of course, right? If you're spending $5,000-$10,000 a day, once you reach that 10K a day mark, yeah, you're going to start kind of overstressing the market if you don't have a really deep back end. But as a guiding principle, the constraint is your creative velocity.
And a lot of people blame the market too because it's easy. Like you can just blame, if it's not the market's not resonating with this or this or that. I mean, I was just on a call this week with a potential partner who was explaining, the last agency I was working with, they were launching some ads, but then we started to notice after 2 to 3 months, performance started dipping. And I'm like, well, how many ads did you guys have live? And this was on YouTube. And they're like, we had 4 ads live. It's like, what? Like, how do you expect to scale and be profitable, much less scale? How do you expect to do that if you're doing 4 creatives or 4 creatives a month or a week? Like, how do you expect to do that? And that's the norm. That's what a lot of these offer owners are experiencing. And that's kind of been the standard in the agency space. And it's absolutely crazy because it's starting to fade out already and people are catching up to it and realizing that it's not enough and it shouldn't be the standard anymore. So if you're still doing that, I mean, good luck, because I'd be surprised if you're, in business or have clients at the end of this year if you're not adapting and rolling out that new strategy.
Yeah. Overall, as a whole, like the key takeaways that I would say from this entire thing is like creative velocity is the number one constraint. You need to have a lot of different formats, different locations, like we discussed, always going out on a weekly basis and really understanding how, the funnel and the ads are directly correlated. If you want to, increase your conversion rate on your funnels, run better ads. The better ads you have, the more topical they are, the stronger they are. You're going to increase your funnel conversion rates as a whole and, scale more effectively, right? And ensuring that you also have proper awareness level allocation, ensure that you're hitting, the problem aware stage, the unaware stage, the, product aware stage, et cetera, ensure that you're allocating proper budget accordingly. If you're running a brand new offer that just launched to a creator with a big audience, you're probably going to want to start off at a most aware or product aware level of awareness. People are already familiar with them. A lot of those ads will go to warmer leads and you're going to convert better compared to running an unaware ad immediately for a big creator that already has a most aware audience. That's really, really important. And then ensuring you're using AI, leveraging Claude, getting all your data, in real time and ensuring that it's identifying the winners, the losers, what are the key common patterns, and rolling out just more creative velocity, more creative throughput. Having a team that can actually output that at scale by creating good systems is very, very important. Like, internally for our team, we have an entire creative concept board where we have every kind of winning creative and different variations of it based on each client, right? So if we take on a brand new client, we can go to our concept board and we say, hey, we already have 10 carousel ads that have proven to convert in this tab here. We can take 3 of them, roll them out for this client. We have tweet ads in there already that we can take and roll out for this client. Everything fully templatized. So like what I just said, as soon as we have a new client on board, we have 15 different ad formats that are templatized that we can go out there and easily add copy on and add their image on and roll out very, very quickly. You need to have good operations and good processes if you want to have high creative velocity.
And the ones who understand all this are the ones who are going to win long term. Like we're not the only ones in this space who are abiding by this, but everyone who's winning and actually scaling and getting results for their clients, like it's no secret. Like this is just what's working. And we've been able to find this out through spending hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars a month of our own money on ads. We've been able to distill it down into the principles that you just mentioned that we abide by. And again, this is what's working for us, is what's working for our partners. The ones who understand this are the ones who are going to win long term. So it's ultimately up to you, whether you're an agency or whether you have an offer of your own. Are you going to do this? Are you going to deploy people like us who can run with this strategy effectively and scale your offer? Or are you just going to settle for the old way and the way that things have always been done? And maybe you might get some results now, but you're not going to get the results that you're capable of. You're not going to get even close to your ceiling. And eventually, with how fast things are changing and the algorithms are changing and the industry and, the way customers buy, the way all of these things are changing, if you're still running with these outdated strategies, you're not going to be doing it for very long.
Yeah, I think we're reaching the 45-minute mark here. If anybody is watching this and you are enjoying this, show us some love, give us a like, leave a comment. We have a lot more episodes coming and a lot of really, really good episodes that you're not going to want to miss. And if you want us to run your offer, run your ads, go to WeScaleCreators.com, apply. We'll get in contact with you and see if you're a good fit, and hope you enjoyed the episode.
Last but not least, if you know anyone who might be a good fit for what we do, and it's not you directly, our referral offer, I don't know if we said this last time, is now live. Go to 100KReferral.com and learn more about our referral program. We're paying a lot of money for good relationships with
a lot of money
for a long time. So maybe it's not you directly, but if you heard all of this and you're like, man, I know a client, or someone in your space who could benefit from some of the strategies that we talked about, go to 100KReferral.com, fill out the information there, and our team will be in touch and see if we can make this same kind of magic happen for someone that you know.